as Darren was mentioning before, this year 2023 is all about accelerate. It's how we accelerate our businesses, how we accelerate our Fresh Hub, and how we accelerate our connections. And when I started Fresh just over a year ago, I was in the infancy of my business. I was a new business, and my hub was basically a new hub. We were down to only 6 members as well, a very similar position to where Brighton is now, Brighton and Monash. And my business just accelerated and took off along with the Prahran Hub, and definitely Fresh Networking was a huge part of that. So why I began networking. So as I mentioned, I was brand new to business. I had no network, and I really wanted to accelerate my launch. I'm a sole trader, and I was really looking for a different way to add colleagues into my daily work life as well. So when I was looking at networking, it wasn't just about referrals. It was how I was going to be able to build a community, a network of my own within my business. I am a bit of an extrovert, but I'm an introverted extrovert. So I wanted to put myself outside of my comfort zone. And those first few meetings I went to, as I sat there and listened to everybody go around the room doing their own pitches, as I sat there almost wanting to vomit as it came up to my turn because I was so nervous, I probably missed half of everybody's pitches. But the more I did it, the easier it got. So it was all about putting myself outside of my comfort zone. I'll come back to that shortly as well. And it also came to my clients and how I was going to be able to provide them the best service possible. So Fresh Networking was an extension, another arm to my business, because I could provide more than just my advocacy services. I could provide my clients with a mortgage broker, a conveyancer, somebody to install a split system, all the way down to a cleaner before they moved into a property that they purchased. So it was a great way to add extra value as well to my service offering. How I implemented my plan, and it was all about exposure, really. So first of all, I'd really recommend the Fresh Academy and make sure that you complete those online courses. Particularly, make the most of your pitch, make the most of your membership, and make the most of your 10 minutes, because it is all about exposure. And when you're standing up there presenting in front of a room of hopefully 30 people, you really want to be able to hit the mark well, get your points across. And it's that one time where you've got full exposure and you really want to command the room and make sure you're presenting on valid points, which is going to create connections and referrals for you. I attended last year over 70 hub meetings, and I actually set myself KPIs on how many meetings I was going to attend. So some people might say, well, I'm going to attend my meeting on one week, and then the off week I'll attend another one. Well, my KPI for myself was actually to attend 2 separate meetings per week. The more exposure that I got in the infancy of my business, the better it was. I got fresh with as many people as I possibly could. Yes, I would research who would be good connections for me, but I would also catch up with anybody else, even if I didn't think there was a referral opportunity. For me, the success has been more around building connections rather than referrals. Whenever I meet with somebody, I've always got a goal that I will try to connect that person up to one other professional that I may have met out there when I'm doing my Get Freshes as well. So you'll probably notice that whenever I meet with you, you'll probably get an email shortly afterwards linking you up with somebody. I'll use Gabby as an example, if you don't mind, Gabby. I remember one of the first times I met Gabby, I connected Gabby up with Patricia, who is a family lawyer. And I believe that a result of that connection, they actually hosted an information evening. And I'll come back to that sort of collaboration as well shortly. Connections, that's what it's all about. And guests. Guests are so important to the networking for your hub, for your business and your connections as well. I always make a point when we go around the room at the end of the meeting on who you'd like to catch up with. I never really say people within my hub because I know them and I can reach out to them. I always hone in on the guests. I want to make them feel welcome. And also I want to find out a little bit more about them. It's an opportunity for me to find out about them and for them to find out about me. You never know what's going to come with it. But again, I always have a goal. I will connect them with at least one other professional that they will be able to do business with or have something in common with. Collaboration, less blah. So I mentioned before collaboration. So I embrace collaboration over competition. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. I use the expertise of other freshies in my hub and throughout the network as well when I was going to those other hub meetings. I found my tribe and I'm always growing it as well. So there's certainly a lot of people who I do a lot of business with. There's a lot of people in Fresh that I actually catch up with socially as well. So it's not just about referrals, it's about that connection and growing your tribe and working with people you know, like, and trust, which is a saying that Fresh has, but it really resonates with me. So some of the collaboration that I have done over the past year with people in the Fresh network. So I work in property, so I'll focus on that sort of thing, but property information events. So there was a mortgage broker in my hub and a conveyancer at the St Kilda hub. The mortgage broker worked at a co-work space. So we did a lunch and learn. It's called The Commons. They've got multiple sites. And we actually did a bit of a tour and we went through 3 of those sites. And I ended up helping one lovely gentleman out purchase a property that I met at one of those events. And I know that the others has done quite a lot more business through that as well. I've also done some information evenings targeted at specific communities that we've done really well out of, me and another freshie also. Festivals, so stick to your tribe. I was invited to attend the Midsummer Festival this weekend with Kerry, who's a mortgage broker in my hub. We're both part of the Rainbow community and he had a tent there and we were there, you know, talking to people in the community, talking about how we might be able to help them, just more exposure together. Expos, I know that the expos are a good way to do it. I was thinking about doing the Australian Property Expo, but haven't quite organised it, but that's something that's going to be on my list for the next 12 months. Information videos with industry specialists. So I have an accountant in my hub, Mark Debblejack. We actually sat down and did a bit of a Q&A video together that we both put on our social media and our websites and pushed it out to our CRM database and our newsletters as well. It's another way to give out advice to people from a trusted professional. I don't know too much about accounting. I do love to buy investment properties, but there's so much involved in it from an accounting perspective. So it was really good to give that information to my clients. Niches and referring out. So as most of you know, I've got a very specific niche that I like to work with, and I always talk about that niche. So I'm the go-to person. But when I come across a referral point that isn't particularly in my niche, say somebody wanting to buy a holiday home in Mornington, well, that's probably not what I like to focus on. So I would collaborate with somebody in the Fresh Hub and actually refer that out as well. And keep social. I really love a lot of the social events, even if it's just going out and grabbing a casual coffee or a margarita, whatever it might be. It's a really great way to keep building those connections. And for me, I actually enjoy doing it, so it doesn't feel like work. Accelerate your hub. So, you know, be an advocate for your hub and the members within your hub as well. So I always think fresh first when I'm out there talking to people. And when I get the opportunity, I will always refer my clients to somebody within Fresh, or if there's a collaboration point, I'll always jump on with somebody in Fresh as well and really talk up the hub when I'm out there talking with my clients as well. The amount of clients that I've actually invited to Fresh networking would probably, if I actually looked at the numbers, I'd probably be quite surprised. But it's a way to attract more guests when you talk really highly about Fresh and the value that it does add. Align your invites to the speaker roster. You'll have a lot more success when you're inviting guests to come into Fresh Networking if you can align their interest or their business to who's speaking. So for example, I've invited 2 real estate agents to come along to our next meeting because Adele is going to be presenting on mortgage broking, and it's very much aligned interest rates to the real estate market at the moment. Think of people to introduce your guests to before the meeting. So when you do invite somebody, think beforehand, who in my hub do I think that they're going to be able to do business with, or maybe they'll even get along with, and make sure you beeline them at the meeting to make sure you introduce them, or even let them know beforehand, I've got, you know, this real estate agent coming to the meeting, Adele, I'd love for you to meet them. Check the guest list prior to the meeting and research who's coming, what they do, and look out for them at the meeting so that you can make sure you're making really good connections. And when you're doing your activity in the meeting, don't be shy. Discuss the activity that you've been doing out there. It shows, celebrate your collaborations, celebrate your ka-ching, talk about the get freshes you've had and things that you might be working on. It's positive and it shows that energy is happening as well. The portal and your dashboard, it's really motivating for me when I have a look at my portal because it shows a lot of the activity. So over the last year, I've invited 25 guests. I've received 23 referrals. I've given out 12 referrals. Those 23 all haven't turned into something. But some of them won't. It's about your conversion rate. I visited 17 hubs, but 70 meetings in total. I gave out 26 connections, 0 absences. But if you look at my figures, and remember, this is my first year at networking. So I gave out almost $38,000 worth in business, and I received pretty much the same back. And that's pretty good numbers, I have to say, for a first year in networking. But I think what that's showing us is you really do get back what you put into it. So I'm not out there thinking, how am I going to get a referral from this person? I'm out there thinking, how can I add value to this person's business life? Because what you give out, you're always going to get back. And that's certainly my mantra. I probably dribbled on a little bit. So in summary, as Queen Elizabeth would say when she was alive, I have to be seen to be believed. That's all about the Queen's walkabouts. So when I'm out there going to all my fresh meetings and doing my get freshes, they're my walkabouts. But it is all about exposure, and the more exposure you have, the more you're going to be seen, the more people are going to think of you. The uncomfortable makes life easy, and the comfortable makes life hard. So push yourself. I mentioned earlier that when I first went to my first fresh meetings, I thought I was going to throw up before it was coming up to my pitch. I was so nervous. But the more I did that, the easier it became. Then I threw myself into the facilitating role as well, which I was so nervous about, but now I absolutely love it. And if I look back, that saying, I actually heard that saying from Tiffany Cook, and it just really resonated with me. Connections, it's all about connections. Make as many connections all over the place as you possibly can. Guests, invite as many guests, connect with guests as well. They really are the people that we want to connect with after the meetings. Think fresh first when you're out there thinking about referral points, or even people that could collaborate with other people as well. And it won't happen overnight, but it will happen. So be patient and just keep doing the right things. Don't think what's in it for me. Think about what's in it for other people, and it will come back. It will come back to you. Yeah. So